Figure Force. It's Figure Force, YouTube, toy collectity, vlogging to save the day. Figure Force. Nostalgic vintage toy heroes. Figure Force.
Figure Force is the codename of 4 daring, middle-aged, highly obsessed toy vloggers. Its purpose, to bring toy reviews and nostalgia to YouTube and Instagram, video sharing websites that allow users to upload, view, share and comment. Hi, I'm Rudy Zissou, and here comes a new challenger. Hi and welcome back to a Figure Force video. It's been a while. Maybe just before Christmas I did a Figure Force video. Figure Force is still a collective, for sure. I'm obviously crazy busy with 2 little action figures of my own. SMSNO obviously had a much harder time last year and is just getting into the realms of doing videos whilst obsessing about Star Trek and building Star Trek models, which are awesome, by the way. Xortriders on crazy COVID-19 isolation, and Dave's been releasing stuff on Instagram and taking a nice little break from YouTube and just enjoying toys. But I am back with a Figure Force video. So about this time last year, about a year ago I guess, I did a video entitled Insert Coins to Continue. It was all about me obtaining the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con NECA arcade inspired Turtles. And the reason for getting it was it's a beloved arcade game for me, and I really wanted a representation of the Turtles that just want the everyday Turtles from Playmates from back in the day, because I'd had all those. I wanted to get something really specific that brought back memories of a school trip. As I said, it was a beloved arcade game for me, but it's not my favourite game of all time. My favourite game of all time is Street Fighter 2, and I had been longing to get a toy representation of one of my favourite characters. When Street Fighter 2 came out in 91-92, it absolutely blew me away. I couldn't believe such a incredible game, a beat 'em up, had been made. And I stumbled upon it by chance. So when I was 13 or 14, when it came out, I had gone on a family holiday. I think it was pretty much the last family holiday I went on, being that I was, the 13, maybe 14, and we went to a really, the British seaside. We went to Bournemouth, and it just so happened that it was, a wonderful 2 weeks in the sun bar one day, and obviously that day was torrential rain. But obviously my parents, doing their best, carry on regardless, we're quintessentially British, we'll go for a stroll along the promenade and have cream teas. So obviously I'm like, oh really? I don't know if I want to sit in a tea room with a load of biddies and old fogies drinking tea and eating scones and clotted cream. No, I can't be dealing with that. Luckily enough, I was, old enough, and my parents trusted me to, go along with the promenade by myself, and it is then where I walked past an arcade, and as I peered in, there was Street Fighter 2. Do bear in mind that I'd not been into an arcade for maybe 3 or 4 years, actually, not in, the latter stages of the 1980s where the real arcade boom was. I'd just not gone into one. So that was exciting in its own. Only being 13 and having nostalgia back then for something from the 80s, that was an incredible buzz. Hearing the noises and the sounds, and arcades have that smell. It kind of smells like Coca-Cola and sweets and popcorn and ice cream, and you know, it sounds crazy. They're always really loud, and you can either hear, you know, the 1990s Euro dance music that was playing, or you'd hear the arcade machines. And obviously I just gravitated right to Street Fighter 2. Hearing the soundtrack and hearing the sound effects, seeing the visuals, seeing that you could choose 8 characters. And the one thing for me that caught me was all the incredible artwork on the sides of the arcade machine. I only really remember arcade machines being just kind of black, because they were often, when you went to the arcade machine, they were just switching out the games and having them in, you know, bog standard black units. I don't think I really remembered arcade machines being that vivid. Maybe Outrun, because you got to sit down and have the visor, and you know, you'd see the Ferrari Testarossa on the side. So seeing Street Fighter 2 and all the incredible artwork was just mind-blowing, as I said. And then obviously I poured all of my holiday spending money into the machine and played it for what I thought was an eternity, like the whole afternoon. It was probably like 40 minutes. You know, it's a minute around. You barely last, you know, 3 rounds, because it was incredibly difficult, especially if you're a rookie like I was and make the huge schoolboy error of using Blanca, who is rubbish. Then, you know, you weren't going to get very far. Luckily, I started to figure things out and used Guile and Ryu. And this is where my pure love of Street Fighter 2 came from. Subsequently, owning it on the Super Nintendo, you know, a year later, or 2 years later, and my love for Street Fighter 2 has never dissipated, thus wanting to own a toy representation of that incredible memory, and for one of the ultimate favourite characters of mine, who was not playable at the start. It wasn't until we got to the realms of the Championship Edition that you would get to use Sagat, my favourite character in my favourite arcade game. When I saw this get, I guess it was kind of like teased, because they had a couple of, I think they had Guile and Ryu and Sagat at last year's New York Toy Fair. I was just like, that's nuts, that's crazy. And I couldn't gauge how big it was from the photographs. It was just, this thing's 1/12. Before we get any further, as I said, I couldn't gauge the scale. I couldn't quite grasp how big it was, because it wasn't shown next to anything apart from other Street Fighter characters. And obviously in the game, he's a big, hefty character. And even in the subsequent anime movie, you know, he's just an absolute walking man of muscle. Yes, so back to New York Toy Fair, I was just like, God, that's incredible. This is the Street Fighter figure I've been after, you know, for forever. Big, massive, articulated. It's going to have an insane shelf presence. You know, I don't have much choice when it comes to getting Street Fighter figures. You know, you can go the high end, you know, the Fig Arts versions, or you can go the uber expensive G.I. Joe Street Fighter crossover ones, or you can go the wacky Transformers X crossover versions of M. Bison and Chun-Li as RC, you know, Ryu as Hot Rod. Ryu as Prime and Ken was Hot Rod. This, for me, is the essence of me collecting and living that passion for toy collecting, finding a toy representation for all that I've discussed. And it just, before we even get it out of the package, it just, you can see it. This is what happens sometimes when I get a toy. I get a little bit lost for words, because it is invoking those memories and that passion for a game, that passion for toy collecting, and seeing the love and care and attention to detail that they've done to bring this thing to life. This is an image from the actual game from Ultra Street Fighter 2. The logo is spot on, the typeface is just incredible, and then you've got some OG artwork. I feel like this is so close to the original artwork from the side of the arcade machine that, you know, it does bring back all that nostalgia for me, and it's just perfect for the box. I often go on about how either incredible the boxes are, you know, if you take in the thoughts of the Glacial Lord, or the very basic, can't be arsed Marvel Legends. You know, it's neither like one or the other. It's all in, and you get to see the sheer size of him and some of the incredible moves that you can get, and a few of the extra accessories. You know, his tiger fireball, the tiger knee, the tiger uppercut, and you get 4 different faces. We'll see them more when it's free of the plastic prison, but you can see you've got 4 different faces, a couple of hands, fireball, and you have a backdrop of his scene. Let me free him from the plastic prison and calm down. So here we have Storm Collectibles Sagat free of the plastic prison, and as you can see, he is ginormous. And this is the pose straight out of the box. This is the pose you see when he is trapped behind that plastic case. And it's a great pose in itself. It's going to allow me to show you all the insane detail. But what I want to do first is show you the backdrop, because it is pixel perfect. It looks like they just did a screen grab, and when it comes to display, it's going to be just an extra add-on to have on the shelf if I wanted to, or I'm literally just going to have him posed in an all manner of different poses when he's on the shelf up against other action figures, because I want him to tower over everything. But yeah, let's have a proper look at him, because you can see his trademark scar. You can see all the definition in the muscles, the extra little bits of dirt on the bandage wraps and his hands and fingers, creases all on his signature blue and red shorts. You get the standard stern face, and the same goes on the back. The definition of Sagat as, you know, a world warrior is, you know, undoubtedly one of the biggest and the best, and you can see his insane body and muscle definition all the way around. This part is actually rubbered. It's rubber plastic, so when you do want to move him around and get him in all the various poses, it's not going to break or snap or, you know, or stress, because it's beautifully thought out. And as you saw when I was detailing the package, it comes with a selection of heads. You've got the angry gritted teeth head, the laughing head. Obviously when he wins, Sagat's trademark is either crossing his arms and laughing, or just literally laughing over his fallen opponent. And you get the signature Ultra Street Fighter 2, you know, game over, continue, blooded face. And it's so easy to attach. You literally pop on. The other head, and you get to see all the articulation that it brings. I'm not going to go through the articulation on every joint because I'm going to show off all the incredible poses in a moment. A few other things that it comes with a little instruction sheet, and you can see that's the signature pose that it comes in the box, and it details with a beautifully hand-drawn bit the different faces and the different hands, the open hands, the slap hand, the fists, and you get to see his signature fireball, which is a beautiful bit of translucent plastic going through the reds and the oranges, and it's excellent clear stand to have it standing next to Sagat once he's fired off his signature tiger move. You also get an extra 3 clear pieces, which if you are going to go for a tiger uppercut pose, you can attach it to the base. Get ready for Sagat's set of signature moves.
Tiger! 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 Tiger uppercut!
And finally, to give you a true sense of scale, here we have Storm Collectibles Sagat with Steam Robo, just a little bigger than a Legends, and he's tiny compared to him. He doesn't even come anywhere close to his waist. This is the sheer size of a 1/12 scale action figure. That has been Storm Collectibles Sagat from the Ultra Street Fighter 2 collection. Everybody likes to play games, whether it be video games or sports. But when they do, it's natural to try and win. But some people try so hard to win that they forget about safety. They get excited, lose their tempers, and then run the risk of hurting themselves or someone else by playing too aggressively. No game is worth an injury. When you do play, don't be so anxious to win that you'll do something that you'll regret later on. Always play it safe. So now you know. And knowing is half the battle.